1st August 2007, rush hour, Minneapolis. The I-35W bridge is packed with the cars. Then, in under a minute, 1,300 feet of steel truss drops straight into the Mississippi River. 111 vehicles go down with it. 13 people never come home that night. Investigators spent over a year taking that bridge apart piece by piece to find out why. What they found was not a monster storm, not a quick truck bomb, not old rusted steel giving up after for years. It was a gusset plate, a steel connection plate half as thick as it needed to be, carrying more force than anyone had checked it for, because the original design never fully accounted for how the diagonal truss members were actually interacting with each other at that joint. In plain words, the model in someone's head and the structure standing in the real world were not the same structure. That is the single most dangerous gap in structural engineering, and today we start closing it using the exact same tool most of you are already learning, that is STAAD.Pro. Hey, this is Chetan from Civil Nirman, and if you are someone who wants to actually understand structural engineering and not just survive, you are in the right place. Every year, thousands of engineers open STAAD, build a nice clean model with straight line and perfect joints, run the analysis, get a green tick and move on. That is exactly where the danger starts, because a STAAD model is never that the real structure. It is always a simplified idealization of it. Knowing exactly where that idealization is safe and where it is quietly going to bite you is the entire skill of a good structural engineer. See, when you open your drawings, what do you see? Dimensions from the finished floor level, dimensions from the top of steel, real physics reference point a fabricator can measure on site. Now, open your STAAD model. What are you actually modeling with? Center lines? A beam is a single line through its centroid. A column is a single line through its center. And that is not how the building is dimensioned. And it is definitely not how it gets built. Look at this. This is the actual physical joint. The beam, the column and the brace meeting the way they really get fabricated on site. And here is the exact same joint the way STAAD see it. Every member reduced to a single line meeting at one theoretical point. Already you can see the two pictures are not identical. For ordinary framing, this mismatch barely matters, but the moment you are dealing with moment frame resisting lateral load through the bending stiffness, this small simplification stop being small. This is how STAAD actually resolved it in practice, using the top of steel as the common work point for beams, columns and braces instead of floating center line. Notice the beam intersects at the column at slightly different locations because of the different beam depths involved. This is the real geometry talking. And here is the trap beginners fall into. Model that moment frame using pure centerline to centerline dimensions instead of this top of steel geometry, and your STAAD model will show more flexibility than the real building has. More flexibility means more predicted drift under wind or seismic load, and more predicted drift means you might throw heavier beams and heavier columns at a problem the real building never had. You pay in steel tonnages for an assumption you never noticed you were making. Now flip it. Mark a column base sitting on a concrete pier as fixed in STAAD, and it sounds conservative. It is not. Real foundations rotate a little. Assume a perfectly fixed base when the real one can rotate, and you actually underestimate your building's drift. And that is the opposite of conservative. Every assumption you type into STAAD has a direction. It either pushes your design too heavy or too light. Your job is not to avoid assumptions, you cannot. Your job is to know which direction each one is pushing. Now see, the slab that doesn't line up, here is the figures. See, here is elevated concrete slab construction on steel framing. Notice the beam center lines and the center line of the concrete slab do not actually coincide. Model that exact mismatch literally in STAAD. and this is what you get: a disjointed, physically impossible structure because the software took your centerline instructions completely literally. So here is the accepted practical fix. Assume the beam and slab centerlines are coincident for modeling purpose. It is typical and it works for almost every case. Just remember, there are specific situations like discontinuous diaphragms where you genuinely do not need to model the offset. Knowing the difference is what separates a beginner from someone who actually understands what STAAD is doing under the hood. Now let's look at a full brace frame with 3 connection details marked on it, because this is where connection eccentricity really lives. Detail 1. A simply supported beam connects to the flange of the column because that connection sits away from the column center line. There is an additional moment imparted to the column equal to the beam and shear multiplied by half the depth of the column. See, STAAD centerline model will never calculate the extra moment for you automatically. You have to know it exists. This is exactly the tool STAAD gives you to fix it. Under the beam specification tab, the offset command lets you shift the analytical work point away from the center line to match the real connection geometry in either the global or local coordinate system. But here is the catch: almost every beginner misses this. Offset also shortens the effective member length, which stiffen up your structure. The safe workflow is 2 passes. Design your members first using plain centerline to centerline geometry, then separately verify those same members using the offset model. Here is the detail 2. It is common on real sites to raise the brace work point above the column base, especially when the floor slab needs to be installed before the steel brace goes up during erection. Do not use offset here. Offset assumes a rigid end and this connection is not rigid. Instead, insert an actual additional node at the real brace work point, so STAAD calculates the genuine shears and moments using real beam theory at the point where the force actually acts. Here is the detail 3. The brace frames into a gusset plate welded to the bottom flange of the beam. This introduces additional moment into the beam, which offsets can help you capture, but it also introduces additional moment into the brace itself because the angle is attached to the face of the gusset, not the true center of gravity of the member. Offset cannot fix this second part. That brace capacity has to be verified by hand or with a spreadsheet. And here is a genuinely useful field practice straight from experienced STAAD user. This additional brace moment is usually considered for braces in compression but ignored for braces in tension, because tension actually counteracts the buckling effect of the extra moment. This is exactly the category of error the I-35W investigation pointed to, a design that treated force interaction at a connection as simpler, more one-dimensional than the real 3-dimensional behavior of those members actually was. Now, before you can even ask how much load goes where, you first have to ask, does my STAAD geometry even represents the real load path? Get the joint geometry wrong and every result STAAD gives you afterward, no matter how advanced the analysis is, an accurate answer to the wrong questions. In part 2, we open up STAAD's actual member release and inactive command using a real world example where a hand calculation and a STAAD model disagree by 77 kips on a single column and by 73% on a single brace. Same structure, same loads, very different numbers. See you in the part 2.